Hey everyone, I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. I know I did. I am getting ready to run an errand, so I'm out in my vehicle and thought I would hop on here live because it's something that just happened to me, and I thought, I want to see if it resonates with anybody else. My husband and I are going to go on a pretty big trip this weekend, so I was in my office pulling some books off the shelf because I've got a long flight, 2 long flights ahead of me, and I was pulling some books off the shelf that I've been meaning to read for quite a while. And the books that I pulled off the shelf are actually personal development books. So I thought, you know what? I cannot be the only person in the world who really is seeking this personal development more than ever before in my life. So I thought I'd hop on and ask you, are you growing personally? Are you developing yourself? Or let me ask you this. First of all, let me say that there is so much more to you than meets the eye. So I'll be that friend to tell you that you are more than what people see. So are you one of those people that feel like you don't need to learn anything else? You have arrived and you're pretty set and pretty set in your ways, and what you see is what you get? Or are you one of those people who always knows that there's something that can be bettered in you? There can be something that can be refined and made a little bit better. And I am that second person. So there is more to me than meets my eye. There's so much more that I need to learn about myself. And sometimes you and I have to dig for it. It's so important to reach for bigger and better lives. Give me a thumbs up or a wave if you agree that there is so much more to your life than what you are experiencing now. Now, let me say that I am not implying that we should always be wanting something more, something tangible. I'm all about being grateful and being satisfied, but I'm talking about changing who you are as a person so that you can, and this is the reason for this video, the whole personal development is not necessarily for us, it's so that we can be more effective out in the world, so we can live out our purpose to the best of our ability. So one of my favorite personal growth people. He's actually not around anymore, but it's Jim Rohn. And he said that what you become is far more important than what you get. I'll say that again. What you become is far more important than what you get. And he also said to have more than you've got. If you're seeking more, to have more than you got, then you've got to become more than you are. And I love that. It just tells me that there is more that I need to be finding out about myself. Now, personal growth is really an ongoing process. It's understanding and developing ourselves in order, like I said just a little while ago, to achieve our fullest potential. I know when I taught school, just about every year, twice a year, we as teachers would take turns. We'd be pulled out of our classroom for a couple of days in order that we could go to a personal development retreat or weekend or whatever. And it was so that we could always live up to our fullest potential and know how to deal with kids and parents and so on. So I believe that personal growth is going to is going to have you push yourself harder than you've ever been pushed before. You're going to struggle with yourself, and you're going to challenge yourself as you're growing personally. Personal growth forces you to ask yourself questions, and I love that. I love asking myself questions. When I ask myself questions, it's forcing myself to find and dig for those answers. So I feel, this is just my opinion, but personal growth can come in there can be 4 looks for me to personal growth. Now, do not think that personal growth is just reading books, because it's not. Sometimes it is reading books, but it's also maybe listening to podcasts, going on retreats, going to seminars, watching something on TV, something like that. I do love books, so quite often my personal growth is through the genre of a book. But for me, it's divided into 4 parts where I'm always trying to grow personally. And the first one for me does take the most importance. It earns a priority in my eyes, but it's spiritually. I have to grow spiritually. I don't ever want to become lukewarm. So the questions that I ask myself as I'm trying to grow spiritually are questions like, what's my purpose in this situation? What are you trying to teach me in this situation? How have I been uniquely made so that you can use me in this situation for purpose? What do I need to change in this situation? Who am I? Who do you think that I am? Who do you say that I am? As I grow personally by digging into those spiritual questions, I'm sure to come up with some answers that are sure to change me in some form or fashion, either change my behavior, my responses to people, and a whole host of other things. So for me, one way for me to grow personally is to do it in a spiritual way. Number two, and I really think that these all go together. I don't think you can have one without the other, just my opinion. But number 2 is when I seek to grow personally, I try to do it for my relationships, my day-to-day relationships. And the questions that I ask myself while I'm seeking to grow personally are, how can I get behind that person's lens? How can I see what they see? How can I look at what they're going through their eyes? How can I best relate to that person? How can I be more present with that person, whether it be my husband or my kids or a friend? And there's all kinds of resources out there, books, podcasts, you name it, on building relationships and getting better at them. So I'm always asking myself questions so that I can grow personally that way. Another way that I think is a way to have personal growth is in the physical sense. Reading and watching and studying things about nutrition. What can I eat that's going to make me feel the best? And I have to say that I didn't eat a very good lunch for me to make myself feel the best. We're all a work in progress, but I'm constantly asking myself, what can I eat that's good for me nutritionally? How much water should one person take in? What does a 50-some-year-old have to do that I didn't do when I was 30-some? What are some ways that I should begin moving my body that are different than what I did back in my 20s? Here's some other ones. How can I love the way or the person that I see in the mirror? How can I better my self-image? So those are physical, that's a physical way you can get better personally. And the last way is mentally. Some mental things that I can grow personally. Mental things are stretching your mind, making yourself learn some subjects that aren't necessarily easy for you to take in. Maybe you think you're extra confident, but you have a nagging suspicion that you're not. So it's learning, reading books, watching podcasts, going to seminars, whatever it is, about getting confident. Maybe you care a whole bunch about what other people think about you, so much that it consumes you. Maybe it's reading books, going to seminars, doing webinars, whatever, that have to do about not caring what people think about you. Maybe it's reading books on how to be a CEO of yourself, how to be an influencer, how to be a leader, or maybe it's reading books or watching a podcast on how to stop making excuses. Maybe it's about your emotional intelligence. There's all kinds of ways that you can grow personally and get better up here. So let me just recap 4 ways that I like to experience personal growth. Now, please know that I'm not like someone who's constantly got my nose in a book and trying to better myself. I don't let it consume me, but I do know that there is so much more room for growth in Lynn. So to recap, spiritually, relationally, physically, and mentally are 4 ways that I really try to be on top of it by growing personally. Now, I have to tell you that I've got some wonderful things on the horizon that are all about personal growth. There are things that I've experienced myself, and it's about a week out, 2 weeks out to being completed, and I can't wait to share it with you and possibly get you to ask me some questions about that. So hold on to that, and then I want to leave you with this. If you want to be wealthy, happy, filled with joy, then you've got to learn to work harder on yourself than really on anything, on your job. Work harder on yourself even more than you do on your job. And better is something that you become. It's not something you get, it's something you become. So strive to become better so you can live out your purpose. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you got any value out of this and you know the perfect person that this should be shared with, then please do it, because this is something that I have had shared with me, all about paying it forward. So pay it forward yourself and share it with somebody who you think needs it. Have a great day, and I will hop on here again soon. Bye.